Well, I'm just cutting back this clematis over here because today I'm going to move it. So as far as picking a day to move a clematis, it probably doesn't get a lot better than this, to be honest. So very early spring here, this clematis is still quite dormant. I mean, I don't even see like buds swelling on it yet, although I do on some of my other ones. And it's a cool day, but it's very overcast today. And we're going to get rain this afternoon and tomorrow. So it's probably about as good as it's ever going to get to move something like this. So this clematis is Gravetye Beauty. It's a gorgeous kind of burgundy-ish colored flowered one. The flowers are kind of pointed petals on it. It grows and has been growing for a long time here up this serviceberry tree. And all I sort of do is sort of lean it towards the tree, and from there it just sort of scrambles up branches. It doesn't hang on in any way, but I just sort of flop it around. And it goes all the way up. I see seed heads probably that vine probably is 15 feet long there to where I see the seed heads above me. And I've loved it in this serviceberry here because it's a very late flowering clematis, which is like later than a lot of my other group 3 pruning ones, which is actually really nice because when it's been growing up this serviceberry, with the serviceberry first we had, well, in most cases, we had the flowers in spring and then you get a few berries. Then you just get that nice green growth. And then when we're getting towards the end of summer, then you start getting these red flowers that look like the tree is flowering in. And that's one of my favorite things with clematis growing up through shrubs and trees, is that it kind of looks like that shrub or tree is flowering in a completely unexpected and odd way, which it should be because it's not. It's a different plant that's flowering. As you probably know, clematis are categorized into 3 different pruning groups. Sometimes they're called A through C, sometimes they're called 1 through 3. C and 3 are the same thing. And in all cases, these are the ones that bloom on this year's growth. So you can cut these back pretty much to 1 or 2 buds above the ground, and they will flush out and they will bloom really well. Now, most of the very, very many clematis that I have in my garden are that pruning group 3 because they're so easy. And to me, if you're going to grow a clematis through a tree or a shrub, it's probably kind of important actually to have it be that type, because at some point you don't want a lot of those old clematis vines messing up with your shrub and getting in there. So this way you get a fresh start every single year if you want it. So I actually have other group 3 type clematis that grow up through trees that I actually prefer to prune differently than this. I don't cut them all the way back because I actually want them to flower higher up. One example of it is the Alba luxurians that I have growing up. The blue magoo Picea engelmanni, which is quite bare at the bottom, but those flowers always look cool when they're growing up. So anyway, that's just one of the many ways that you can kind of control how your clematis blooms. You don't always have to just follow those basic rules. But in this case, I do like that one. So the reason I'm moving this clematis is because this tree is being removed. And the process of removing it is going to necessitate removing all of the plants that are around it. So that we can dig a proper hole and get this tree fully out, roots and all. So all the plants that are around it need to be at least temporarily moved. Some of them will come back here. This is going to move to a new spot. And this is moving to a new spot because this tree's replacement is actually a late flowering tree or shrub that also gets beautiful red calyxes on it in late summer, early fall, which means that those red flowers of that Gravetye Beauty are going to kind of blend in with that. And I don't think that I'll have the impact with this clematis that I would if it were a different color or bloomed at a different time. Clematis root systems are really big, as I learned last year when I tried to sort of repot a pair of clematis that had been growing in very large containers and like almost broke my back trying to get them out of those pots. So clematis tend to have really big root systems, and I'm going to try to get as much of it as I can. And because this tree is actually moving out, when I go digging around in there, I'm not worried if I'm disrupting any of the tree roots because the tree's coming out anyway. So clematis always have these telltale yellow roots on them. You can see I cut quite a few of them. I think there's plenty of root structure left there. Actually, there is new growth coming up here. And this often happens with clematis. You get, in addition to the growth you get on the old vines, you get a bunch of new growth coming from the base. And there's all kinds of new growth coming from the base on this one, which is a good sign. And I still have a tag in this one, which is shocking to me. I did not get as big of a root ball as I thought I was going to, but you can still see there's an extensive root system there. So here is the new location for this clematis. You can see that I have already dug a hole over here. So this is Cornus moss. This is Cornelian showy dogwood. Planted 2 years ago in this location. I've got another beautiful one at the end of the driveway. And we've just really been loving this tree, but it seems to me like it's really well suited for something scrambling through it. And a late flowering something or another would be really nice, because the main feature on this is that we get these beautiful little yellow flowers, which you can see the buds are just starting to break here a touch. This one has the flowers on this are a lot smaller than the other one. This one's much newer, so I can understand that. Anyway, so I'm going to plant it. I moved it far enough from the base of this to not interfere with this root system. I have dug a hole over there, and we'll lean it, just like we did with that tree, we're going to lean it towards the tree so it scrambles up this Cornus moss right here. So I have put some biochar blend in this hole already. That's my favorite soil additive. And then I'm also going to put a little bone meal in here. Now this is a method for planting clematis that, gosh, when I first started growing clematis, I bought a lot of plants from a place called Silver Star Vinery, which is out of business now, I think. And they had planting instructions that suggested adding some bone meal to the hole. And I tell you what, it has always worked for me. So I often also add little manure or compost to the hole, which is mostly a method of creating a hole that will drain well but retain moisture, which is what clematis really want. We've all heard the adage, head in the sun, feet in the shade. Really what clematis want, they don't care about shade. What they want is cool, moist roots. That's where the shade part comes in. So by adding organic matter that will keep moisture in there, that's good. I think these are all feeder roots from this shrub, by the way, so I might have gotten a little close there. And then, to add a little bit more soil in here. There's a layer of mulch that went on this area that got a little thick, so I really had to pull back quite a bit of that to get to soil. And I think that's sort of soil level there. You're never going to go wrong by digging a hole that is too wide for a plant. Too deep can be a problem, but too wide is never, ever, ever going to be an issue. It just helps loosen that soil up. So I think it'll be, since I did dig that hole a little bit on the large side, I think it's still going to be all right. Now, even though it's going to rain, I am going to water this in really well, because that soil was quite disrupted, and I want to make sure that we don't have any air pockets around this. And I don't really want to like jam it in the soil, so water will help settle that. Okay, so I put that bamboo stake, actually the same one that was over by the tree there. This is just so it's in place when I need it, but once this starts growing, I will, again, it's not going to climb up that, it's just a method of sort of directing it into the tree. Then I also put this little cloche, which honestly any rabbit could get through and maybe has already. So it's more of a suggestion, but why make it easy for them, just in case the rabbits decide to come around here. Now, I did plant another clematis in this area last year. We'll see if it comes up. It's a good complement to this one if it does. So, but I think this is going to be the perfect one for over here long term. All right, so that was step one in what is really the start of a new era in this garden. That tree was the very first thing we ever planted on this property, so change is a-coming. Make sure you're subscribed so you can catch up on what's happening there and its replacement and all of the good things that are going to be happening in this garden, because all of a sudden, after taking last year off from doing any major projects and trying to just sort of fine-tune some things, I am making up for lost time this year, and there is a lot happening in this garden this year. I hope you'll follow along with me. Thank you for watching. Have a great day in your garden, and we will see you soon.